Morena, no mai, haere mai, ki te Aotearoa New Zealand Food Safety Science and Research Centre. Ko Vivian Hunt aho, ka nui te mihi nui, kia koutou katoa. My name is Vivian Hunt, and on behalf of the New Zealand Food Safety Science and Research Centre, I'd like to welcome you to our Spotlight on Food Safety Science seminar, which is the last for 2021, and our topic today is food safety culture. As we explained in the advert that was sent round, Wendy Newport Smith, who's the Research Centre Manager at the Centre, is collecting research for her PhD on that explores the nature of the relationship between food safety culture and ethical leadership. So today we're going to first hear from Wendy, who will give a brief overview of her research, and then we have three industry leaders in food safety who represent the horticulture, dairy and seafood sectors. Stephen Stewart from Leader Brand Produce will start, and he will be followed by Felicity Champion from Fonterra. And last, we will hear from Hari Kang from Sanford, New Zealand. I will do a little intro on each of them as we change over. So I'll ask Wendy to share her slides, and a big welcome to everyone, especially from Auckland, who are joining us today. I understand you probably have much better things to do, but appreciate you joining. And I'm sure that Wendy Newport Smith needs no introduction. She has managed the New Zealand Food Safety Science and Research Centre and the New Zealand-China Food Protection Network since May 2016. And previous to that, she was managing the Alan Wilson Centre for 6 years. Wendy has leadership and management experience across the education sector, and she's supplemented this with a Masters of Management and an MBA from Massey University. And she's now adding to that by working towards her doctorate of philosophy at the School of Management at Massey. In 2020, she was awarded the Churchill Fellowship to study national virtual networks in Europe, Canada, and the US. So we're looking forward today to hear from Wendy about her research, and also looking forward to the results in the year ahead. So Wendy, if you could just press your slide so that it shows as a slide presentation. Yeah.
The technology is working, Vivian?
No, you've got the notes showing. So just if you go to display settings.
Good now?
Good, yep, great, thank you.
Hello, Vivian. Thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. I feel privileged to be able to present my doctoral research to you this morning, the working title of which is Management of Food Safety Risk in New Zealand. I'm going to first talk about why this research matters, and then I'm going to talk about the methodology that I'm using to capture the research. But first, some quick facts about foodborne disease that are worth reflecting on. 1 in 10 people get sick after eating contaminated food. The impacts of continuing outbreaks of foodborne illness are far-reaching for individuals, communities, businesses, and economies. The potential consequences for a business responsible for a foodborne outbreak include negative impacts on brand identity, financial losses, and bankruptcy in up to 1/3 of cases. New Zealand has a reputation as a producer of safe, high-quality food, and is perceived as being a good global citizen, environmentally aware, socially cohesive, and having high governance integrity. It's vital for this country to create and maintain a food sector where those involved believe in food safety because it's the right thing to do. Food safety is the behaviour that reflects an organisation's food safety culture and climate, and in very simple terms, food safety culture is the way food safety is done in an organisation. There's no stronger demonstration of a food company's ethics than when a foodborne outbreak occurs. These incidents lie at the intersection of industry, science, government, and public health. Ethical leadership is needed throughout this ecosystem. According to Frank Yanis, food safety equals behaviour. The link between foodborne illness and food safety culture was first recognised around 2005 and built on the foundations of safety culture, which in turn was built on organisational culture theory. Food safety culture as a field of study has evolved in the 16 years since. In 2008, a link between food safety culture and food safety performance was highlighted. In 2010, a study reported that 40% of food safety related behaviours are connected to food safety culture. And in 2018, a study suggested that over 50% of cases of foodborne illness are attributed to failures in food safety culture. Creation of a food safety culture involves intentional commitment and must take precedence over other subcultures such as cost saving. A strong food safety culture is a choice. The most important and influential cultural factor in food safety culture is leadership, the character, knowledge, trustworthiness, commitment, and communication and leadership ability of the person in charge. Managers are role models for followers. Key in developing and maintaining culture is not what managers say, but what they do, walking the talk. Food safety culture influences employees' food handling practices. Therefore, a poor food safety culture constitutes a risk for foodborne illness outbreaks. Assessing food safety culture can identify likely problem areas to mitigate this and provide a measure of and identify ways to improve food safety performance. Internationally, several tools have been developed to evaluate and improve organisational food safety. However, there's no consensus on what the most effective tool is. With the exception of a 2017 Ministry for Primary Industries report summarising the state of play related to food safety culture in New Zealand, there doesn't appear to be any New Zealand-specific research into food safety culture to date. Ethical leadership is at the heart of food safety. Overall, ethical leadership enhances employee, organisational and safety, and by implication, food safety, performance and outcomes. The common leadership characteristics are listed here, with the literature verifying that honesty is the most important. Media and public interest in corporate ethics scandals, such as Enron, Arthur Andersen and Lehman Brothers, and in man-made crises such as negative environmental impacts and climate change, reflects the importance society places on ethical governance, leadership and behaviour in business. It's the chief executive who determines the moral health of an organisation. Integrity cannot be delegated. Ethical influence has a trickling down effect through an organisation's hierarchy and may also move horizontally through peer groups. Therefore, leaders at all levels should model high standards of ethical leadership. Ethical leadership was first linked to safety performance in 2015 in a study that found when workers feel trusted and valued, they are motivated to comply with and support safety regulations in the workplace, leading to increased participation in and compliance with safety standards. In a time when it could be argued that food has never been safer, the reported incidence of foodborne illness hasn't diminished. It's critical to understand how to influence behaviours that achieve safer outcomes across the food sector. My research is seeking to understand the nature of the relationship between ethical leadership and food safety culture using mixed methods across 3 work streams. Workstream 1 is a survey across Fonterra's ingredients business to gather data about the status of food safety culture and ethical leadership from worker and management perspectives in January 2022. Data gathering for Workstream 2, 31 semi-structured interviews with food companies nationwide, was completed last week. Workstream 3 involved semi-structured interviews with international experts in food safety culture, and that will happen in April 2022. Data analysis from the 31 semi-structured interviews will begin mid-December. Both members and non-members of the Food Safety Centre across a range of food sectors have participated in this workstream. While I haven't analysed the responses yet, I do have some initial impressions about those businesses I've interviewed. Food safety culture is top of mind, with businesses positioned to respond to both changing international standards and consumer expectations. A number are considering, developing, or have implemented tools to evaluate food safety culture. The leadership role paid by businesses large and small is apparent. The educative function many adopt through their supply chains, for instance, is a common theme. The majority of food businesses are predicated on values. Doing the right thing for people and the planet is top of mind. The packaging dilemma is of unanimous concern. Social licence to operate has emerged as a common theme. One interviewee summed this up neatly. Corporate social responsibility is not the basis for a point of difference. That's just the standard people expect these days. Characteristics of ethical leadership identified in international studies appear to be supported. Some uniquely Kiwi ethical leadership characteristics have been identified, and I look forward to analysing these. The calibre of the individuals I've had the privilege of talking to through this process has been outstanding, and you'll be hearing from 3 of them shortly. Those responsible for food safety and quality in the food companies represented in my research are committed to keeping people safe, both internally and externally. The theoretical contribution of my research will be a better understanding of the food safety culture and operational, management and governance level perspectives of ethical leadership of practical value to New Zealand food businesses, government and academia. I'd like to acknowledge the individuals that I've interviewed throughout this process. I've been privileged to do this. I'd particularly like to acknowledge my supervisory team, David Tweed, Nigel French, Vasuda Rao, and a very special thank you to Greg McCullough and Felicity Champion from Fonterra for providing me with access to their workforce for the quantitative survey. I'll leave you with a reflection raised by 2 of my interviewees. What kind of ancestor do you want to be, whether personally or professionally? I think this poses a powerful challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wendy.